I remember all things that made me who I am.
I remember being told, keep your neb out and stop faffing about. I remember nicking off school and getting a croggy when it were booking it down. I remember thinking up swear words with my primary school friends and shouting them out all the way home. Bloody bugger, hell, shit. The adults with little uns gave us the filthiest looks and I went silent once I got to the end of my mum's road.
I remember sneaking to the bog at night as curious as a kitten and hearing my newborn brother's first cries upstairs.
I remember sitting in my dad's car with 2 hamsters on the back seat. Fluffy little clouds with twitching noses. I was dead chuffed. My dad was only meant to get one. My mum nearly killed him.
I remember going out in my little pink pumps and coming back clouted up with mud and come back looking like a rate scruff.
I remember my nan's hand shaking, familiar as a favourite book. She filled me in on all our lot and what they'd been up to, while she fed me chocolate limes and blackcurrant licorice.
I remember the dark ginnel offering a short way home. It was secluded and protective, but more threatening when I was jiggered. The human stink of muck and midden would either stop me or cause a quick sprint.
I remember the first time I was kissed by the lass next door. She nearly broke my jaw and it's not been right since. I remember a grim day, muggy, dull, stale and grey, looking through grimy windows at the flat sea and wanting to plunge into the deep cold water. I remember wanting to shed the mardy, mithering self I'd become, wanting the winter sun to break the spell and dissolve the fog in my mind.
I remember when my granddad said, that's a grand lass and let me have extra goodies. I remember my mum finding out and granddad saying, I told thee not to say out. I remember trying to keep a secret while like breathing underwater.
I remember feeling full of beans when riding in the car over the hill and seeing the sea for the first time.
I remember when Dad couldn't find the marmalade in the pantry. I was sent to look and couldn't find it either. Mum said no one looked further than the end of their noses.
I remember getting a month's wages back from a tax rebate. Got a right jammy git.
I remember the warm smell of tomatoes, too hot, in the muggy greenhouse.
I remember standing at sink peeling spuds.
I remember school bus trips always included a pack-up with a sandwich, drink and a bag of spice. I remember the family saying, "Ooh, he's a better door than a window," when I stood in front of the telly.
I remember getting bread when I didn't budge.
I remember helping Grandad pick apples from the high-up branches with his tin can on a stick, as though we were fishing in the bluest sky.
I remember teaching Yorkshire phrases to a Singaporean friend. He came round and asked in a very proper voice if he should put the wood in the hole.
I remember wanting a donkey jacket and ankle boots so badly like my friends. I got a duffel coat and moon boots. I felt like a right wazzock.
I remember dancing around to the charts on a Sunday evening in the lounge. My dad would shout, "What the chuff is all that noise?" while my mum did the pots.
I remember when David fell asleep at story time. He leant on me and I didn't know what to do.
I remember all things that made me who I am.